Hello everyone, thank you for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bablet Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, road safety experts in Cameroon attribute the deadly accident which killed close to 40 persons on National Road number 4 over the weekend to human errors. According to the experts, human errors are largely responsible for the accident which took away tens of lives on National Road number 4 over the weekend. In the meantime, the executive president of the Parliamentary Network for Road Safety, Honorable Malumba Esembe, MP for Boya Urban in the Southwest region, calls on drivers to exercise a high sense of respect. They should respect highway code and other rules as far as the use of roads in the country is concerned, in order to avoid such tragic incidents. Those were our top stories. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Cameroonians are expressing deep shock following the incident that occurred over the weekend on National Road number 4 in Dikinimiki in the Mbam and Enubu Division Central Region of the Republic of Cameroon. The accident, which left tens of persons, over 40 dead, and the accident occurred over the weekend in that part of the country, and this is coming to add to the recurrent road accidents recorded on highways across the country. The transport authorities in the country had been taking measures to ensure a hitch-free end of year 2020, but this accident has come to indicate that the roads are still very deadly. But road experts are attributing the accidents occurring on highways across the country, notably the one that occurred this weekend in Dikinimiki, to human errors. According to road safety experts, human errors are largely responsible for the accident that occurred, leaving tens of persons dead. And the senior divisional officer of the Mbam and Enubu division in the central region of the country spoke to the press. This is what he said.
We just recorded a regrettable accident on the National Road number 4, Yaoundé-Bafoussam, precisely in the Dikinimiki subdivision, Mbam and Enubu division of the Central region. A 70-seater bus of the Avenue Voyage Inter-Urban Transport Agency went down this valley. 37 deaths have been recorded and 18 passengers seriously injured. The casualties have been transported urgently to the Dikinimiki and Makenene hospitals. The corpses will be evacuated to the Yaoundé General Hospital mortuary, where family members are expected to go for identification and collection.
Nous demandons aux membres de la famille d'aller les identifier et pour toutes les autres mesures pour récupérer ces corps.
We once more implore road users to be vigilant on our highways, especially on this road under rehabilitation.
Mais nous demandons à nos usagers de cette route qui est en réhabilitation d'être prudents sur cette route.
That was the senior divisional officer of Mbam and Enubu division in the central region of the country, giving some details on the accident that occurred over the weekend involving a 70-seater bus of Avenue Transport agency. And I told you earlier that Honorable Malumba Esembe, Member of Parliament for Boye Urban in the Southwest Region, Executive President of the Network, or Executive President of the Cameroon Legislators Network for Road Safety, who has called on drivers to exercise a high sense of consciousness and respect for the road code to avoid such tragic incidents happening again on national highways across the country. He was speaking to Derek Jato in Boya. Take a listen.
It was with deep sadness that I received the news yesterday of the catastrophic road accident that happened along the National Road number 4 between Bafoussam and Equinoxe, precisely at Numale village. I just had a phone conversation with the SD of Mbamane Nobu, and I expressed to him my sympathy and my encouragements for the work he is doing. Especially, I transmitted to him, and also on behalf of the network of Cameroonian legislators for road safety, the deepest sympathies that we have towards the bereaved families and also towards the survivors. It is a very sad day for our nation to lose so many lives. He told me close to 40 so far have been identified dead. It is a sad day, and I want to use this occasion to call upon drivers to actually beg them to exercise prudence on the roads. It is very essential that we keep to the speed limits which are provided for by law. As a network of parliamentarians for road safety, we shall continue the advocacy to make sure that we have laws and that our nation also ratifies treaties, international treaties that will guarantee greater road safety on our roads. More especially in 2021, we are going to engage the ministries concerned through the mechanism of parliamentary control of government action to make sure that the sums of money allocated to them in the state budget are effectively and judiciously used to enhance road safety in our country.
Honorable Malumba Esembe, Member of Parliament for Boye Urban in the Southwest Region, Executive President of the Network of Cameroonian Legislators for Road Safety, Sekurut, speaking there to Derek Jato in the Boye. And I told you earlier that road safety experts are attributing the accident in Ndikinimiki on National Road number 4 over the weekend to human errors. According to analysis of road safety issues, the accident was largely or to a greater extent caused by human errors, considering the fact that the stretch of road where the accident occurred is in a relatively good state compared to other roads across the country. We'll be coming back to that report in a short while. Time for us to talk about the fire incident this weekend at the Mbopi market here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, where over 21 shops were reduced into ashes by wild flames. And it is not the first time that fire is consuming shops in that market. It has become a recurrent problem that is occurring at very close intervals of time. Fire incidents have occurred in that market here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. An enormous material damage was recorded in that incident. Goods consumed, reduced to ashes by the wild flames at the Mbopi market here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Now, coming up, for me, Armstrong Sander takes us back memory lane into the major incidents recorded within the context of the 4-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country throughout the year 2020. His report.
2020 has gone down into the annals of history as a year of tragedy that can only be likened to that year when Okonkwo took 800 seeds of yams from Mwakibi, as painted in the novel Things Fall Apart by renowned Nigerian writer Chinwe Achebe. That's what COVID-19 has done. But within the Anglophone crisis, 2020 began with the killing of a separatist leader, General Chacha, in Kumbu, in the Bui division of the Northwest region, on January 25, 2020. 14 February 2020 welcomed one of the major incidents, the Ngarbu massacre in Tumbo village, Ndu subdivision of the Donga Mantung division, Northwest region. It took close to 3 months for findings of an investigation to be published on April 21, 2020, indicating that 23 people died in the incident. March 8, 2020 saw the explosion of an improvised device at the heart of the Commercial Avenue in Bamenda, where Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique was chairing activities of the International Women's Day. 10 persons were wounded, with 5 severely wounded according to official sources. The Bamenda explosion came less than 24 hours after an attack on a police and a gendarmerie post in Galim, a town in the Bambotus division of the neighboring West region to the Northwest region of Cameroon. April 3, 2020 saw the appointment of Minister Paul Tassong and former Mayor John Donatos as coordinator and assistant, respectively, of the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest regions. Their 90 billion budget had been fixed by President Paul Biya on December 5, 2019. Paul Tassong and John Donatos will later carry the PPRD to Bamenda on June 22, 2020 and to Buea on June 29, 2020. May 10, 2020, another tragic incident took center stage, the assassination of Princely Ojong, the mayor of the Manfe Council in the Manu division of the Southwest region. August 11, 2020, social media in Cameroon got flooded with the beheading on camera of a certain Comfort Tumasang in a street in Muyuka subdivision of the Fako division, Southwest region. Less than a month later, and on September 1, 2020, a police inspector, Nicolas Joseph, will be killed at the city chemist roundabout in the city of Bamenda, a killing which immediately ushered in a mixed security operation dubbed Operation Bamenda Clean. It was during Operation Bamenda Clean that a certain separatist General Matt Dock was killed on September 6, 2020. October 13, 2020, another separatist General Ayeke was killed in Lebialem Division, Southwest region, and his body publicly displayed at a popular road junction in the city of Kumba in the Meme Division of the same region. October 24, 2020 welcomed another shocking massacre, the Kumba Massacre, where 7 school kids were killed on campus. November 5, 2020, the paramount ruler of the Nsot Fondom, Fonsem Binglo, and His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi are kidnapped by separatists in Baba village in the Ngokitunja division of the Northwest region. December 14, 2020, 3 traditional rulers are kidnapped in Buea, chief town of the Southwest region. A tragic incident that will later cost the life of one of the traditional rulers, His Majesty Chief Ekomengale of my 14 Dibanda.
Limited technical capacity, the divergent attitude of member states, and to an extent the absence of sanctions against non-compliant states are some of the issues still retarding the effectiveness of sub-regional integration within the Central African Economic and Monetary Community CEMAC zone. And these are some of the issues that members of the Economic and Financial Reforms Program program of the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, PREF-CEMAC, are discussing in a 3-day meeting here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, and they are discussing on how to step up regional integration and make it a reality, profitable to the people of the Central African sub-region economically and in the social domain. The experts from the PREF-CEMAC are discussing strategies to enforce the implementation of regional integration reforms in the financial and economic domains in order to enforce the reforms and get the benefits flowing down to the man on the street, so to speak. For greater details, take a listen to Professor Michel Sir Njena. He is the Permanent Secretary of the Economic and Financial Reforms Program of the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, PREF-CEMAC.
Our head of state, they did decided during the meeting in Yaoundé that we are going to implement 12 projects to integrate our region economically, make sure that we don't go and buy things that we can produce in our region, making sure that you can go from one capital to another, making sure that we have electricity, because you cannot integrate in the darkness, and making sure that the population, our young people, they are well educated. So that is why we have 11 projects. We are meeting today in Douala to study the conditions of the financial announcement made in Paris, to go project by project, to see the modalities of implementing those projects, then to go back to the head of state and say, this is what we found. Those are the results, so that they can give their blessing to start implementing the project by the technical negotiation on the field. Because if you just have announcement and you don't take steps to implement, there will be no implementation. Our population, they want results. They don't want theory. They don't want announcement. Announcement, good. The financing is good. But what they want, they go to the market and see that the products are there. The rules, we can build the road. See that the hospital, we have products in the hospital.
Now back to the problem of road accidents in the Republic of Cameroon. The Ministry of Transport has launched a nationwide road safety campaign in order to enhance measures that will prevent the occurrence of such deadly incidents like the one that occurred this weekend in Equinoxe on National Road number 4, which took away over 40 lives. And of course the ministry is stepping up campaigns to enforce the respect of the highway code and other norms governing the transport sector in the Republic of Cameroon. And I told you earlier that the some road safety experts in Cameroon have attributed the incident in Equinoxe last weekend to human errors. They explain and analyze the situation, indicating that the accident should have or was caused to a greater extent by human errors. Innocent reports. We'll come back to that report in a subsequent news edition. It's time for us to go out of the country. 30 candidates, including 2 former presidents and 2 former prime ministers, are standing for election in Niger's presidential and parliamentary elections. And the voters began voting early yesterday. And 30-year-old Mohamed Bazoum, right-hand man of outgoing President Mohamed Issoufou, is the favorite to win, and the former interior minister, 60 years old, is aiming for an outright victory in the first round, something that no candidate had done before. He is focusing on security and education. Over 7 million people are eligible to vote in Niger's presidential and parliamentary elections. Now take a listen to outgoing President Mahamadou Issoufou and one of the voters.
Cette première alternance, je l'espère, va permettre au Niger de consolider son statut de modèle de démocratie en Afrique et dans le monde.
We pray to Allah to choose as the president who has the most mercy for the people, a president who won't betray the country and won't betray the trust of the people. That's our wish. It's also our wish that Allah may help to make the poor, the peasants and the breeders happy.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Coming up next, Equinoxe.